Hey, real quick, this training is most useful as an execution tool. So I want to make sure you have everything you need. If you're not yet plugged into SAM, this is going to be the first move. And I want to give you 14 days of access on me. That way you can set up, build, and succeed alongside us as we go through each of the training modules. It's as simple as going to sam.workflowsecrets.info, clicking sign up, entering your details, and then you're ready to go. If you need it, I'll throw the link down below and I'll see you inside. Now back to the training.
So to really begin this, I want to make sure that everybody understands my core strategy, C.O.R.E, conversions, operations, retention, and experience, and how it really is a cycle. It's a cycle of process that you're doing, and how it relates to not only your business as a real estate agent, but virtually every business that deals with people. There is, in the conversion process, you're actually attracting people into your business. You're generating the leads. You're using lead magnets to get their attention, so they sign up, give their information to you. That information then needs to get put into a database, and that's where SAM comes in. And then once they get put in there, then you start going through the lead nurture process. At some point, they will sign on the dotted line as either a buyer's agreement or a listing agreement, in which case then you go into the operations. And the operations is your moneymaker. That's where whatever your expertise is, in what we're doing today, it's all about real estate. We've got lenders and title and escrow people as well, but the operations piece is where a lot of the systems that you're going to put together, we're going to go through and actually build some of those today and going through that process. But before we build them, we have to do some setup. But this operations area is important because it's what helps even out your yins and yangs, your hills and valleys, those the highs and lows of this industry whenever it comes to your income. If I can just train one thing about how to level out your business so that you're systematized in a way that everything is running on autopilot, then you don't have to spend so much time in one area neglecting another area and then letting it fail. And that's what causes that up and down. And we'll get through that. The operations is probably the most time sensitive element, because you've got all your contract dates, all your deadlines and things like that, and those have to be dealt with while you're going through that listing to contract to close process. There's all kinds of deadlines and dates and stuff that have to be dealt with, and we set up the systems to deal with those. You're optimizing your actual business. You're making it so that you can scale your business in a way that no matter if you've got one client or you've got 100 clients or 1,000 clients, it all flows. And I use this example in a lot of places where, why is it that McDonald's, a business that's being run by high schoolers in many cases, how do they do so much business? It's because of systems. Once they close, then they go into the retention. This is where you nurture them over time. And with the way houses sell, it could be 3 years, it could be 5 years, it could be 12 or 20 years before they do any additional purchasing of houses, unless they're investors or something like that, where you need to nurture people for a long period of time. That nurture helps keep you in their mind whenever they do go to think about, hey, I'm thinking about buying or selling a house. Who should I talk to? You're the one that comes to mind immediately. and we want that. Or if they've got somebody in their office or somebody that says, hey, do you know a good realtor or something like that, your name pops right off their tongue because you've been nurturing them over time. And that retention piece is what a lot of agents fail at. I think it's like 86% of all buyers and sellers say that they would use their realtor again, but only 13%, something like that, actually do. So it's crazy because you're just letting money sit on the table, or it goes to somebody else's table, and we don't want that. Then the last part of this, which really is interjected into the conversions, operations, and retention, is that experience. Not your experience in real estate, but the experience that you give your people through the other three elements. What kind of experience? You want to surprise and delight them. You want to give them an experience that they remember, and hopefully it's a good experience that they remember, because bad experiences that they remember can be detrimental. But things that you can do to surprise and delight your customers. And as we go through, this is our 4 core pillars of everything that we do within SAM. What databases we use, what information we create, what processes we set up, all of it is guided off of the core strategies. And if you understand the core strategies, you know where things go, it just kind of makes more sense. So we'll go through that and break that down. Now, I'm going to start speeding through everything as quickly as possible from this point forward. Why do most agents lose their leads? It's because things that happen in between and not having systems in place to do it. We've kind of already talked about that, but whenever people, just the painful reality, kind of go through this one section here. We can create forms, visitors visit those forms, they fill out the information, it comes to you, and what happens? Well, most agents will call that person maybe one time, and typically it takes 15 times of calling before they actually do things, or sending information one time, and you don't have a system in place to handle constant contacting of these people, so things get dropped. And those are the types of things that we want to solve for. So the real cost of that is just the fact that you've got delays happening, you've got people falling through the cracks. And I like to say it this way: you don't have a lead problem in most cases, you have a leak problem. You're letting things leak through because it's not systematized, or the systems that you're using have problems or challenges with them. So definitely something we need to deal with. Not going to spend time on this. This is just a kind of showing you how everything is interacted. I'll come back to that later. The conversion process, we're going to talk about how do I get my landing pages created, creating lead magnets, bringing in information, and using that information then to provide content for other things, and setting up systems and routing those leads that come in from those using routing and stuff in the CRM. We'll cover that as well. That operations piece, I do want to make sure that the one thing that we have really tried to deal with is operations is everything to do with the property. For real estate agents anyway, the operations piece really goes through the property, the listing, your offers, and the contract period. That's all the operation stuff. We're going to go through and build in a few different aspects of those. And I want you to start thinking right now about what is the thing that I have my most challenging time with. If I have a new listing that comes in Is it the listing, the marketing that takes all my time to kind of set up? Or if I get an offer in and contract to close, where am I spending my time? And maybe I don't like spending this. Maybe it's something that you just don't enjoy doing. I want to have you start thinking now about what are those elements, and we're gonna build in those pieces into the system. The retention, already talked about that. Won't go through that. And then the experience, already talked about that. So one of the things that is important inside of SAM, and we're going to really dive into this a lot in a lot of different ways, is making sure that you have the system set up so that instead of getting generic automated email type content, that you can utilize the information that's inside of SAM to really personalize and make things look good and sound good in your voice. Just in your mind, think about this. You know, you don't want generic looking stuff. You want it more personalized. This is what SAM is going to help you do. And then the entire journey, we kind of went through and talked about that. One of the pieces that I want to emphasize is whenever we start personalizing content, we're creating content, we can use different types of tools to take that content and make it look good and make it look so that people want it, desire to have it, and being able to make it inviting to actually use, because the more inviting it looks, the more likely they're going to give you information about themselves to get that content. So think about this. If you go to Facebook and you start looking at stuff, what captures your eye? Well, typically there's some piece of information, there's some video, there's something that captures your eye. Maybe only for a split second, but it captures it just for a moment. And typically it's something visual, typically it's something that stands out. And the content that you're going to be creating is something that's important. So we utilize a couple different tools. Manus is one. We're going to talk about how to import that or set that up so that we can import information from Manus. Making polished content with PDFs, using different tools, even like Gamma, some of the other things. Making those landing pages, making those look good, using Gemini's ability to create images and information that can be put on a landing page so that ultimately we get that person's information. These pieces rely on doing some setup. So that's what we're going to do right now, is we're going to take all of these different parts and pieces of things and get them set up this morning so that we can really move into what's necessary to do inside the system once you have those setups and put into place. So